With its core worlds under attack or occupied, its major production facilities sabotaged, its fleets badly damaged, the Federation was looking at its lowest point about 2/3 of the way through 2374. So low that it continued to put out secret peace feelers to the Dominion. The Klingons were a powerful and helpful ally, but the Dominion Cardassian forces had likewise battered the Empire's navies. Another ally was needed, and quickly. That ally, in the eyes of Captain Benjamin Sisko, was the Romulans. They were fresh and militarily powerful, but they did not want to get involved. They had a non-aggression pact with the Dominion, and seemed oblivious to the fact that the Dominion would eventually turn on them, pact or no pact. All he had to do was to prove that to them. So, Sisko recruited the help of Elim Garak, a former member of the Obsidian Order, to help him obtain the proof.
So, with a seemingly legitimate rod in one hand, and a dead senator in the other, I ask you, Captain, what conclusion would you draw?
After their efforts to get real proof had failed, Sisko and Garak manufactured evidence that he needed in order to get the Romulans to enter the war on their side. Once the Romulans were presented with the hard evidence, they declared war on the Dominion and the Cardassian Union. The Romulans quickly made good on their declaration. Within 2 days, they struck at 15 bases along the Cardassian Federation border. Using their tried-and-true decloak and launch plasma torpedoes tactic, they devastated facility after facility. The Klingons and Federation welcomed their new allies with open arms. The Romulan entry into the war boosted Federation alliance morale and provided new hope for victory. While decades of mistrust did not evaporate overnight, the three species began working together more closely than ever before. The legions of the Star Empire soon dispelled most of the Federation's doubt about letting them assist the war effort inside of Federation space. Starfleet Command enlisted their aid with a thorny problem: the occupation of Benzar. Several attacks by Starfleet and Klingon forces had failed to dislodge the Dominion Cardassian forces that were stationed there. Assembling a powerful force of D'Deridex, D'Grirok, Tokorex, and Maret-class starships, the Romulans abandoned their usual subtlety and smashed directly into the Dominion Cardassian outer defense perimeter. Disposing of it, they proceeded onward to the inner defense perimeter, where they met more determined resistance forces. Still, after a few hours' worth of fighting, they were able to destroy the planet's defenders and move on to their final obstacle, the Benzar defense perimeter, which had been heavily reinforced by Dominion technology and ships. Without hesitation, the Romulans charged ahead, surrounding the enemy, and battered him into submission with its powerful disruptor blasts and short-range plasma torpedo shots. After a short 3-hour battle, the Dominion Cardassian forces were defeated. Several thousand prisoners of war and numerous ships were captured in the ensuing fight. It took another week for Romulan ground forces to eliminate the Jem'Hadar units on the surface of the planet, but ultimately, Benzar was free. Following this success, Klingon, Federation, and Romulan forces fought on with renewed hope. Starfleet won several clashes in the Cybaron and Dorala systems, and the Klingons freed 2 systems in the Kepla sector, a region held intact by the Dominion Cardassian alliance since the earliest days of the war. But one prize still eluded Starfleet, and that was Betazed. In the last month of 2374, the Second Fleet conducted 3 separate offenses to free Betazed, all of them dismal failures. Determined to hold Betazed at any cost, the Dominion constantly reinforced and fortified its position there. Meanwhile, its exploitation of the planet and its people increased. Realizing it couldn't win by fighting a defensive war and hoping to capitalize on its recent momentum, the Federation went on the offensive at the end of the year 2374. Captain Benjamin Sisko's chosen target was the T'Chaka system, a crucial, heavily fortified system not far from Cardassia Prime. Currently guarded only by 5 squadron of Jem'Hadar ships, it seemed like an ideal target. But Chantaka had hidden defenses: Cardassia's powerful new orbital defense weapons platform. Starfleet intelligence learned about this platform just in time for the Ninth Fleet to leave Deep Space Nine with the hope of getting there before the platforms were activated. Sadly, the Federation alliance was too late. When it arrived at Chantaka, it confronted a much greater force of Dominion Cardassian ships and the activated defense weapons platform. The ensuing battle was one of the shortest yet most ferocious of the major engagements of the war. While trying to bring their weapons to bear on enemy ships, Federation Alliance vessels also had to contend with the awesome power of the orbital defense platform. A single plasma torpedo at close range would heavily damage or destroy most capital ships. After some tense moments, the USS Defiant defeated the platforms by tricking them into destroying their own power-generating system. With the platforms eliminated, the Federation Alliance could fight the enemy vessels without distraction. One by one, Starfleet phasers or Klingon or Romulan disruptors shattered the Jem'Hadar attack ships and Gaylor-class battlecruisers. Soon, the Federation Alliance won, and the Starfleet and Klingon ground forces landed on both inhabited planets of the system. But this victory came at a terrible price. Because the Ninth Fleet and Captain Benjamin Sisko were away on a mission from Deep Space Nine, Gul Dukat infiltrated Deep Space Nine with the objective of capturing an orb that was being protected there.
Dukat.
With the theft of the orb, the Prophets in agony, they convulsed, and the wormhole that had been used by both Bajor and those inside of the Gamma Quadrant had been now closed and sealed away. Thus, at the end of 2374, it ended on notes of both great hope and great sorrow. The events of the next year would test the Federation and its allies even further, pushing them to the brink of despair. With the shutting of the wormhole, while seemingly harmful only to the Dominion, somehow deprived the Federation Alliance of its recent momentum. The tide of war shifted again. In the Chantaka system, the Federation's first true advance into Cardassian territory, they were faced with a massive, ferocious counterattack. The Romulans bore the brunt of it, losing 36 warships and over 10,000 personnel. While the Dominion Cardassian forces couldn't push the invaders out of Chantaka altogether, they regained some territory and kept Starfleet and its allies from advancing even further into Cardassian space. For the next 3 months, Chantaka was nothing but a vast battlefield, the spaces between its worlds littered with the hulls of shattered ships. Elsewhere, the Federation Alliance's results were mixed. The Klingons, tasked with capturing more territory from the Cardassians, made the Monarch system, home of the enormous Monarch 6 shipyards, their primary target. After 2 frontal assaults failed, General Martok opted for a stealthier approach. Under cover of cloak, he released an electromagnetic pulse onto the planet at precisely the right point, creating a solar flare so vast and powerful that it destroyed the shipyards and over 24 enemy ships, and also killing over 6,000 enemy personnel. The Federation's efforts to free Beta Z through the first 3 months of 2375 continued to be met with dismal failure. Hoping the Romulans could work some kind of magic, that as they did on Benzar, Starfleet Command brought in a fleet of Romulan vessels to assist the 4th and 10th fleets. But the Dominion Cardassian outer and inner perimeters defenses around Beta Z included the orbital defense platforms that were faced on Chantaka. This combined force easily repelled the attack of the Federation Alliance ships. The enemy wound up destroying no less than 27 Romulan warbirds and a like number of Federation capital ships. Beta Z remained in the Dominion hands as the Jem'Hadar employed increasingly brutal means to root out and destroy resistance movements. After spending 3 months of contemplation on Earth, Captain Benjamin Sisko received a vision from the Prophets that led him to a hidden orb of the emissary on Tyre. This discovery gave the Prophets the means to reopen the Bajoran wormhole. Morale rose, and Starfleet personnel found it within themselves to fight harder and more cleverly than ever before. The Alliance's first success in the Kalandra sector and the Chudlata system was also during this period of time because of the renewed energy and sense of purpose. Following the success of Monarch, General Martok led the Klingon forces on raids and assaults deep into Cardassian space. Some of his targets included the Trilaka 4 planetary base, the Ketracel White production facilities, and the Menorah shipyards. With the help from the Klingons, Romulans, Starfleet re-established its hold on Chantaka. While Dominion Cardassian forces continued to attack the fleet there, they no longer controlled any territory within the Chantaka system. This concludes today's video series on the Dominion War Part 4. I hope that you guys and gals found it both interesting and entertaining. If you did, please throw a like and a subscribe up on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at RealCatWalski, and I will see all of you guys and gals next time. Live long and prosper, my Trekkies!